Hello, everybody. My name is Danielle, and today we are here to talk about emotion regulation. So, this is our first podcast, and here with me I have Ate Dessa. Hello, Ate Dessa.
Hi, Danielle. I'm so excited to talk to you about emotion regulation. And finally, this had been a dream, diba, for us. So I'm really excited on what's going to happen today and for the information that we'll be sharing to others.
So, this is our experimental project. So, we want to be able to share our knowledge as counselors. So, by the way, Ate
Yes.
Dessa and we're classmates in Alliance Graduate School. It's a Bible school in the Philippines, and we graduated with a Master of Arts in Counseling. And right now, we just want to share our knowledge or experiences on mental health. So specifically for this episode, we'll be talking about emotion regulation. We're going to define what it is, what's the importance, I mean, why do we regulate or why do we need to regulate our emotions, and maybe some tips on how we could regulate our emotions. For you, what exactly is emotion regulation?
Yeah, actually, I don't have an idea about emotions growing up. The
Mm,
only emotions I know before was anger and sadness or running away, avoiding it. So it was when
mm,
we studied in graduate school that I learned that there's a lot of emotions available, names of
yeah.
emotion that we generate in our body. So emotion regulation, um, to regulate those emotions that we our bodies produce,
Mm-hmm.
we have this emotion regulation. So basically, emotion regulation is naming it. I
Mm-hmm.
tell myself, what do I feel now? Do I feel anxious? Do I feel
Mm-hmm.
scared? And then processing it, staying in the emotion, and um, thinking, calculating, processing. How do I respond to it? So basically, that's how I do emotional regulation.
Yeah, and I agree with you, right? In our society, especially in the Philippines, we didn't grow up having importance, like giving importance to how we feel. So like even when I was growing up, I was not aware about my emotions. Like I don't even know uh
Yeah.
I don't even remember like being told, "Oh, you feel sad or you feel angry." It's just it was
True.
actually just recently, like when we were studying counseling, that I was aware about the different emotions, how complex they are, and how helpful it is, right, to name them, to label them. Yeah, and
Yes.
I think this also immensely helped me mentally, emotionally when I was able to learn about this topic. Since we're also on topic of talking about our emotions and our feelings, how do you think this is important to for people to know?
Yeah, that's a good question, Nadine. Because usually in the Philippines, we don't talk about it. People are
Mm,
hurt, people are feel abused and disrespected, but then no one's talking about it. So
mm,
for your question, no, what's the importance? Why do we have to talk about it? Because it will really affect the way we see ourselves, our self-confidence, the way
mm,
we relate to other people, and for example, now when you grew up from family that's always angry, the parents are always angry and
mm,
they don't regulate their anger. They just pass it on to a young child, and the young child cannot carry that intensity of anger yet. So that may actually damage your child without you intending to do it, without intending to hurt or damage your child. The child can be very have low self-esteem. The child can be an
mm,
angry person in the future, or the child can be an angry husband or
mm,
wife in the future because of that. It's like unprocessed feelings, dysregulated feelings destroys the internal system of a person. I call it no intense
mm,
feelings. I call it, if you are not regulating it and you're imposing it to others, it's like an
mm.
emotional rape. Like you're imposing a
Oh.
super super strong feeling to someone when they're not ready for it. They're not ready for this
Mm.
intensity. So it damages the person if you're not aware of it and you don't do it, actually do it in your relationship.
Yeah, and I agree with you. So, and I think that might also be the reason why there are a lot of mental issues nowadays, right? Like the reason why
Right.
people have depression, anxiety, it's because parents or our caregivers were not really able to help regulate the emotions that their children has like have growing up. So now that we're adults and all the emotions like depression is stored up, like the depressive emotion, since we're trained to actually suppress. No, like we have a culture of, oh, you shouldn't feel this way. You should no crying, right? That's usually
Yes.
what is being said to us.
It's a typical no culture. Last time I had this
Mm,
counselee, she wanted to speak, she wanted to speak her mind, but she was not trained to do that. So
mm,
we search, because I believe that the stock emotions are in the body. So
mm,
we did the body scanning, and it looks like the emotion is at the back. So we
mm,
try to listen to the body. What is your body saying? Why is the back strained or in pain? And then she was crying after
mm,
that question, and she said that I suppressed my feelings to be heard, the need to be heard. I was
mm,
hurt because it's all about other people. I'm serving my
mm,
parents, I'm serving everyone, but no one is serving me, no one is listening to me. So
mm,
when she was able to release that, um now she's able to set boundaries, understand her value, that and assert her need to be heard also. And it's very
mm,
helpful uh that we did that, because
mm.
it makes her regulate her emotions more. She's not
Yeah.
operating on fear to be heard. She's not operating on a suppressed feeling anymore. Like that.
Yeah, that's actually very like interesting, right? That when you're able to name or when you're able to scan and learn your what your emotions are telling you, you're actually able to do something about it. You're able to take action. Maybe the reason why
Right.
people suppress emotions is because we don't want to be labeled as weak. Because whenever we show emotion, people have this idea that you're weak because you cry a lot, you're not able to contain yourself, when in fact, right, whenever we are able to show, or whenever we're able to express our emotions in a healthy way,
Yeah.
that's actually becoming more emotionally intelligent.
If emotion is given paid attention to, then you have the logic and the emotion married, and
Mm-mm.
it's more the decision will be more sound if it
Mm.
and grounded if that's happening. And
Yeah, it's very healthy to be able to show that vulnerability because that's when we're able to heal. Because there's really that
yes,
benefit when it comes to crying it out. But of course, there are healthy ways, right, to do it. Because sometimes
right. Mhm.
people go to the extreme that they're using their emotions to manipulate or to
Yes,
like do it for the wrong purpose. But if we're able to express it in a healthy manner, right, I think that would be the right way to say
yes.
that we're regulating our emotions. Yeah, maybe you can elaborate more on that and maybe your experiences when it comes to emotion regulation.
Usually, I was really trained to just be angry,
Mm,
frustrated, and no other feelings. I don't know any other feelings before. So I'm still working on that. So when I'm in corporate, usually, and I'm really losing my patience. When I'm very angry with someone because they keep repeating.
mm,
I'm giving instruction and they keep on repeating the same mistakes.
mm-mm,
Sometimes I feel unheard. Sometimes because
mm,
if it's a past wound as
mm-mm,
well for me. Like I already told you this 10 times and we're talking about this again. So the anger was like the anger of the past and the anger of the present is combining at the present moment, and I just want to release it
yeah.
to people. So when that happens, I usually send an email to myself, a raw email. Like
Mm,
I type all the raw, unfiltered feelings that I have,
mhm, mhm,
and I don't hold back. I say everything that is, even those that are not acceptable to be said.
mhm,
I pour out my anger, my frustration in an email, and then I send it to myself. And
mhm,
then afterwards, I read it, and then my anger fades down, and I feel like I over I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm not considering the other person. So if my anger is still intense, I will redo the email. I will do it again, and then I send it to myself, and then do it
Mm.
again until my feelings calm down, and I'm able to
Mm.
give a good response, a respectful response. At the same time, I can release my frustration in a way that's not harming the person, that's not
Mm.
harming our relationship. But it's the stress is there, tension is there, but it's not damaging to
Mm.
us. And so
Mm.
that's one of my techniques when
Uh-huh.
I'm super frustrated.
Yeah, and that's a great way actually to handle the anger, right? So you just because I like we've learned in counseling that there is a catharsis. So whenever we are able to express it, like maybe through journal or in your case, you email yourself, that's a way for you to let out the anger. And when you're able to actually write the words, like you're able to somehow label it or you're able to recognize the your anger, right? For most people, like even especially for Christians, we've been hearing experiences or even hearing from people that anger is not right. It's not
Correct.
it's not accepted because as Christians you shouldn't
Yeah.
get angry. But actually, right,
Mm.
every emotion is significant. Like God created emotions, even the negative ones like anger, sadness, not just the happy emotions.
Another thing that I do is I talk to
Mm.
you.
Yeah.
If you're available or Ara's available or our friends, we talk to you. I talk to you guys. Because emotion regulation, I like what Bowlby said sa emotion
Mm-mm.
regulation. Also, the way we connect to people
Mm.
uh, that creates, that helps how we regulate feelings. So I feel like
Mm.
connected. So
Mm.
when this one has impact, the other one will feel it. So
Mm.
at somehow that you can contain both the feelings, or
Mm.
it's anger and frustration.
Mm. Yeah. So it's kind of like I think that's if we term that they would call it co-regulation, right? Because if
Yes. Ah,
if you
yeah.
if you have a person who is regulated, who has regulated their emotions, so you have someone to regulate your emotions with, that's co-regulation.
Yeah.
But of course, I think it works better if the person you're talking to is like regulated, right? Because it's like, especially when you're in an argument or in a conflict, it's hard to uh actually co-regulate when you yourself is also in the fight mode. Like if you're also in the peak of your like anger, really nice that we have this community as counselors to co-regulate each other because it's really hard to be
Right.
alone. It's hard to not have a community, it to having someone see your grief, having someone witness your emotions, or having someone witness how you're feeling. There, it gives you
Yeah.
that sense of relief, right? That someone knows what you're feeling. And I agree with what you said earlier. Sometimes I would also write down my emotions. Like I would type down through in my notepad in my computer, or even talk to myself. There are times I have to I say it out loud because sometimes writing is takes a long time for me. So I would say, "Oh, Danielle, you must be so frustrated. Yeah, it must be so frustrating, right? You're in this situation." And then yeah, it's because when this happened, I did this, I did that, and then I just have to keep saying and empathizing with myself until I reach the point where I am or my irrational thinking is functioning already, like my prefrontal
Yes.
cortex. I think we've learned that right in school that
Yeah.
the amygdala, when it's turned on, we can't think rationally or logically when it's turned on. So the only
Mm.
time it's being turned off is when there is someone who is empathically listening to you. So what can you say about befriending emotions?
There was one time that I feel like I was offended that we were in school this time. We were in school, and I remember I was walking in the bridge going home,
Mm,
and I was really anxious, and I'm not at rest.
mm-hmm,
I don't remember the situation, but I remember that's anger. Sorry, a lot of my
mm,
feelings are
yeah,
anger. So I just talked to my anger.
mm,
I told myself that, anger, I hear you. I know that you're trying to protect me from disrespect.
mm,
but
Mm-hmm.
we have settled that already. We talked to the person and we said our boundaries. He or she apologized. This had been sorted. No need to be angry now. We over this. So the moment I acknowledged my anger, and the moment that the anger was convinced, because I remember I talked to that person for something, but the moment that the anger's purpose is satisfied, my body calmed
Mm-hmm.
down. Like, okay, it's like my anger is saying that, yeah, all right, this is sorted. I'll be quiet now. So
Mm-hmm.
while I was walking in that bridge, I felt my body calm down, and it means that the purpose of the anger was served. It's just to protect me, to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that I'm respected, that my
Mm-hmm.
boundaries are not crossed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's very important, because if not, you will not be at peace, and
Yeah.
your anger will keep on making you anxious until it is heard. Until the
Mm-hmm.
emotion is heard, it will keep you anxious.
Yeah, right. And I agree with you that every emotion has a purpose. So like when we're angry because maybe our something in us is being disrespected, so maybe we have to the purpose of your anger so that you will learn how to set boundaries and
Mm-hmm.
learn how to protect your sanity, your mental
Correct.
health. Our emotions are friends, meaning
Yes.
they do not work against us. They are not our
Correct.
enemies, but they are friends who tell us that something is wrong. Something needs to be
Yes.
dealt with. So that's a very good
Right.
example of why how anger is purposeful. But of course, there's also a way to express that, right? Because sometimes
Correct.
whenever we mental health professionals talk about, oh, it's okay to be angry, but then people are saying that, oh, but then you'll be abusive if you're angry. But of course, there are other ways to manage anger, right? So we can
Mm.
first we can use exercise, or we can like what you did
Yes.
earlier. You talk to your anger and ask the anger what the anger is telling you. So we don't
Mhm.
really have to act on our impulses, like we have to yell whenever we're angry. Doesn't mean
Right.
that when we're befriending our anger, we're allowing the anger to act impulsively or to act the way to hurt people, but
Yeah.
we befriend our anger, or we talk to our anger so that the anger will we will get the benefit out of what the anger wants us to do. Yeah, so hopefully that will
Yes.
be clarified, since a lot of people like are
Correct.
against, right, against listening to our emotions or depending on them. Of course, we're not depending on them, we're just listening. We're actually there to just to use them as our guide, not to control us, but to for them to serve as our guide. Yeah. So since we're almost done, maybe you could share last tip on how to regulate emotions.
To regulate emotions, you really need to have your values
Mm,
intact. So when you feel angry or frustrated or sad, remember you have to remember your identity, your
mm,
values, and we want to make sure that we don't, as much as we can, we don't cut off and
mm,
disrespect others as we process our emotions. I think emotion regulation is always rooted in your relationship with God,
mm,
relationship with self and others. You have to be intact so that you won't, separate from connection and just execute your emotions. So you want to connect with yourself. What do you feel? Connect with God. Lord, how do I process this? And connect with others. Like if I say it to a person, what will he or she feel? Is this
mm.
fair? Will I hurt him or her? So connection is a very staying grounded with a connection can help you really regulate your feelings.
We remember as well where why the purpose of why we're even saying the things we're communicating, the feelings we're expressing, because first and foremost we regulate our emotions to give glory to God, to help ourselves, right?
Yes,
In loving
correct.
ourselves, it's a way to take care of ourselves so that not just us but even people will benefit, right? Whenever we're taking care of
Right.
ourselves, whenever we're self-regulated, then there won't be people who
Yes,
will get hurt.
that's right, no, Daniel. Yeah, it will protect you, your relationships,
Mm,
and yeah, it will promote, because you need relationships to receive, like
mm,
um, love to receive emotional needs. So if you cut off relationship, if you hurt people, you might be
Mm-mm.
deprived or you might go to depression because you feel
Mm.
isolated. So it's really important to regulate feelings for you to stay connected with others and for boundaries to be established if there are harm in the
Mm-hmm.
connection.
Oh, that's
Is
so
that
nice. So in the long run, emotion regulation doesn't just benefit us, but even our relationships. So yeah,
correct?
that's so nice to be able to talk about these things. I've learned a lot so much from you, Ate Dessa. Before we end, would you like to promote anything, like your
Yeah.
services?
Yes, thank you, Danielle. I'd really like to promote, guys, if you like to journal or you like to
Mm-hmm.
learn more about emotional regulation, emotional intelligence, I'm creating a journal, a 10-minute emotional intelligence journal. So you can do that daily or every other day, where you can check your feelings, check in with your feelings, process it for 10 minutes, and then
Mm.
um, pray about it. So simple as that. If every day you're practicing emotional intelligence and prayer, then you learn more about yourself. Maybe it could save you from therapy as well
Mm. Mm.
because you'll be self-aware of your feelings, and hopefully this will lead to better relationship with yourself, with God, and others. So check out on that. I'll be putting a link here on this video.
Nice. And that very timely, right? Since we're talking about emotion regulation, that's another tool they could use to
Yes, correct.
regulate their
Yes.
emotions. All right. I had fun with you, Ate Dessa, and I'm also hoping that we'll get to do more of this in the future. But for now, thank you again, once again. I'm excited for your product. Hopefully, a lot of people will get to appreciate and also buy it. So you could buy it for your Christmas
Yes.
gift, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. This Christmas gift.
Yeah. Thank you again, Ate Dessa. And thank you guys
Thank you,
for listening,
Dane.
for tuning in to our podcast on emotion regulation.